Father, 4 Gospels give them. 4 Gospels, they do not know what they are doing. There are 4 Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So what I was looking at earlier on, Luke chapter 23, verse 34. It says here, Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Isn't it really interesting how four gospel accounts are in the Bible, right? The New Testament, there's the 4 gospel accounts. There were 12 apostles. 12 disciples. I always get confused with those words. They were the apostles. It's an interesting word, apostle, or apostles, isn't it? I mean, my mum was a lesbian, right? You know? How many times did she lived with me and she got her post redirected to my home? A post-les, a post-les, a post-les, a post-les. She was a very evil witch. I'm really tired of this nonsense. Father, forgive them. So there's 4 gospel accounts. Okay, so obviously Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they wrote their accounts of what happened. And obviously these books were taken together and put together and called the Bible. So, obviously there was the Council of Nicaea, and, they chose, what to include and what to leave out, that kind of thing. And obviously the English language has a very interesting use of the word or words to and the words for, just to make everything really, really, really confusing and very difficult. And obviously 2 and 4 are numbers. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this is Luke chapter 23. The next chapter is chapter 24. 2-4, that's B4. Well, B, yeah. I mean, 2 is B, and 4, you could say 4, right? B4. I mean, how many times have you seen people type B and 4, the number 4, instead of writing the entire word? They just write B4. Because they couldn't be bothered to write an entire word. Anyway. So this is the thing, right? Because 2,000 years ago, when Jesus was crucified, Jesus apparently said, according to Luke, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. So, it's very interesting how the English language has developed, because the number 4, well, 4 give, yeah, like, I've got 4 fingers, right? If I stuck 4 fingers in your face, you could say I've forgiven you, right? Or whatever, right? If I get, I gave you 4 cigarettes or 4 whatever, right? I'm not, I'm just, it's an example. But this is the thing, because this is a book, and it's a, this book has a binding, right? A binding is a knot. This is all magic. Father, 4 Gospels give them. 4 Gospels, they do not know what they are doing. You see, I am know what you are doing. Yeah, I know what the world is doing. And the world is trying to bind me. It's not an accident that there are 2 words that sound exactly the same, and they sound like this. Not. Father, forgive them. For they do not know what they are doing. It could be argued 2,000 years ago, those people didn't know what they were doing. Now, it's clear to me that people know what they're doing to me. They simply don't care. That's the thing. They don't care what they're doing to me. They'll just keep doing it. The evidence is very clear to me that people, they are constantly trying to keep me stuck and steal from me. They want to rob me and keep me stuck so I can't do anything about it. The fact is that my name is Grant. My mom chose that name for me. Grant. Grant means give. The word forgive, you could almost write it for Grant. Would it be, how would it be any different if I said for Grant? In fact, is that even a word? I don't know, actually. Maybe I'll have a look. I've definitely never heard of it before. Oh, that's right. Taken for granted. Yeah, that's an interesting. So taken for granted. Isn't that interesting? Because like I said, forgive and for grant. If the word for grant existed, that's the thing. Well, for grant and forgive, what's the difference? Is there any real difference between either of those? And obviously taken, if I robbed you, that would be taken, right? Taken, if I, someone who takes something, a thief takes, right? Taken for grant, Ed. This is the thing, right? People they think they can steal my forgiveness. They think they can use word magic and they think that they can rob me of my forgiveness. Like, instead of me actually giving my forgiveness, instead of me choosing to forgive someone, people are simply stealing my forgiveness for themselves. I mean, this is how crazy this is now. Because, I guess they feel like that's a free ticket to heaven. If I could steal God's forgiveness, then I'll just do what God forget. Doesn't matter what I do, I just steal His forgiveness from Him. For grant, yeah, taken for granted, yeah, taken for granted. And what does that mean? If I'm God, all people have to do is take me for granted, right? All they have to do is not care about me. They simply just don't have to care. They just don't care, and it's a free ticket to heaven for them. How strange. How strange. Strange how people would set things up that way, isn't it? Rather convenient, isn't it? Oh, don't tell me you're not working. And it's the other interesting thing is that my cousin Andrew married a woman called Iva, or Eva. Her name is spelled I-V-A. IV is the Roman numerals. IV are it is the Roman numeral for 4. So, and the thing is my cousin Andrew, he was King David, mentioned in the Old Testament. I think you'll find the book of Kings and Chronicles. Yeah. That part of the Old Testament. And that's the thing, because let me read it again. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. And my cousin, he's participating in sex magic with Eva. He doesn't believe I'm God. Yet he wants to continue doing witchcraft against me, attacking me and conspiring with the rest of the world to keep me stuck. It's interesting to think that, someone might pray to God and ask for forgiveness. And it's like, well, there are 4 gospel accounts. And if you think about it, Matthew is a 7-letter name. It can be shortened to Matt, which is 4 letters. Mark, Luke, and John they're all 4 letters as well. So, potentially Matt, Mark, Luke, John. 4, 4, 4, 4. That's 4 fours. And in fact, if I even look at the book of Matthew. Hang on. Oh, come on, hurry up. Well, it does actually have the full spelling of Matthew. I suppose it depends on the Bible. Maybe some might just say Matt. Yeah. Anyways. So what I've titled this video, Father, 4 Gospels, give them 4 Gospels, they do not, as in K-N-O-T, they do not know what they are doing. So, the world is conspiring to this is the thing, okay? So, like I said, I'm the Emperor. That's number 4 in the tarot deck. There are 4 gospel accounts of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, okay? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. And that's the thing. Jesus would have been bound. For they do not know what they are doing. So it's hard. Yeah. Obviously the English language didn't exist 2,000 years ago. It's clear to me that people are constantly trying to trap me. I know what they are doing. I know what they are doing. This world. I know what it's trying to do. And it wants to keep me in a knot and keep me stuck. And that's the thing. There are 4 gospel accounts and they're bound in the Bible. They have, a premium Bible has a stitched binding. The page, that's how the pages are fixed into the covers. tired of this. I mean, this is the thing, it says, Father, Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. But, that's the thing, that's, Jesus said, forgive them on the basis that they don't know what they're doing. But what I'm arguing is that people know what they're doing. The English language says it very clearly. Because the number 4 keeps showing, and not is a binding. I am know what they are doing. I am know what they are doing. I know what the world is doing to me, and that is trying to keep me stuck with their languages. The story of the Tower of Babel, it speaks about how they all had a common language and they were trying to build a tower to reach to the heavens. And God confused their languages to stop them and stopped the building of the Tower of Babel, the Tower of Babel. So but obviously 2,000 years since the crucifixion, there have been various languages. Latin and, well, I suppose, it's pretty, all the European languages, and obviously English is now the most common language in the world, really. It's the most important language on planet Earth. English. I think most people would agree with that. And this is the thing, the 4 gospel accounts, what's it really about? It's about Jesus. It's about the life and death of Jesus. And the teachings of Jesus. So, it says, forgive them. Well, who really gave what? It was, I'm God. I was Jesus Christ. I gave up my life on the cross, trying to save people. Trying to have a relationship with people. And, to me, the way the world behaves with all this word magic and alchemy and magic, it's basically, it's just throwing it back in my face and keeping me stuck. And making me, it's keeping me stuck in order to steal from me. It's taking me for granted. That's what it is. For granted. For granted. Taken for granted. I mean, really, what's the difference between grant and give? What's the difference between the word grant and give? Let me search. Come on, let me have a look. Put grant. Grant versus give. So according to the search assistant on DuckDuckGo, it says here, give refers to informal acts of generosity or transferring something without formalities, while grant implies a formal approval or permission from an authority, often involving rights or privileges. For example, you might give a friend a book, but a court grants custody of children. So, yeah, there's a lot of similarity. It says here, give and grant are both verbs that involve the act of providing something to someone else. However, there is a subtle difference between the two. Give is a more general term that simply means to transfer possession or provide something to someone. Grant, on the other hand, often implies a formal or official act of giving, such as granting a request or permission. Grant can also carry a sense of authority or power, as in granting a wish or granting a scholarship. Overall, while both words involve giving, grant tends to have a more formal or official connotation. Forgive, for grant, taken for granted. Yeah, it's all very, yeah, I don't know what to say, really. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about the word gospel. Gospel. It's very close to the word, well, that's the thing, God starts G-O as well, doesn't it? And then D is the fourth letter of the alphabet, isn't it? Yeah. Go spell. I mean, spell, S-P-E-L, is a misspelling of spell, S-P-E-L-L. So, you know what I mean? The world tries its hardest to avoid me. The world tries its hardest to run away from me and to steal from me. People often ask, like, why would God send his son down to earth to be crucified for the forgiveness of sins for everybody and all that stuff? Like, why does that even make sense? Well, the truth is that, well, I was Jesus Christ. I explained things to people in a certain way, and there were reasons for that, which I've talked about a lot. It wasn't exactly like Jesus denied he was the Father. He said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. That's what he said. Right? I mean, the fact is that if he had, what would the people have done if he had if he had claimed that he was the Father? How would have people behaved? saying that he was the Son of the Father, people still wanted to crucify Jesus. And this is the other thing as well, right? Because Jesus performed miracles in front of people. And how did people respond to that? You know, some people, some people believed. And then others, they thought he was working with demons. You know, that's the thing, right? Others accused him of working with demons and saying that he should be killed. So, you know, that's how the world treats me. It was the same, 2,000 years ago. It was pretty much the same situation. You know, people. That's how people treat me. That's how people treat me, God. They don't like me. But obviously, nowadays, things are a little bit different. If someone wanted to try and crucify me, they'd have a hard time accomplishing that, obviously. I mean, think about it. You know, if someone punches you in the face, there's 4 knuckles. You know what I mean? I mean, how bizarre is that? You think a guy's... I was watching a channel earlier. It was called The Good Fight. And, he talks about... he's supposed to be a Christian. He claims to be a Christian, but, he wants to talk about evil celebrities. And he puts really stupid... his videos... Do you know what I mean? I don't really see how he's doing any good, really. The way he's mixing good with bad. That's the thing, you know what I mean? He's taking what's good and he's taking what's bad and he's mixing it all together. And it's a horrible mess, really. And his channel's called Good Fight Ministries. Like, what the fuck is that about? Do you know what I mean? What do you mean by good fight? Oh yeah, fighting the good fight. What's that all about? Do you know what I mean? Like, we talking about UFC? Are we talking about boxing or wrestling or, the guy got punched in the head and cracked his head in the pavement and died? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? Good fight. Yeah. Anyway. But that's the thing, right? Punch someone in the face, that's giving someone 4 knuckles. Isn't it? You could call that forgiveness. Couldn't you? Yeah, you could. Father, I forgave them with my knuckles. Yeah, I'm sure there are demons out there who believe that. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are demons who think hitting someone in the face with 4 knuckles is equivalent to forgiveness. That's what Jesus said you're supposed to do. Punch him in the face. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how crazy the world is. I mean, that is just me giving an example. So, I will leave it there. I don't think I have anything else to add to this video really, because it's already been explained